Good morning, everybody. This meeting started. My name's Clayton Hine. I'm the presiding member for today's panel. With me, I have Ms. Lee O'Donoghue as the deputy presiding member, Ms. Diana Goldswain online as the third specialist member, and councillors Lynn and Green. I'll declare the meeting open at 9:33 and acknowledge the traditional owners and elders past and present of the land upon which we're all meeting today. You've just noticed that members may be using technical devices. That's just to assist them in considering information before them. The meeting is being recorded and live streamed. I have an apology from Councillor Matthew Woodall. There are no members listed as being on leave of absence. And good morning, everybody. Meeting started. My name's Clayton Hine. I'm the presiding member of today's panel. With me, I have Ms.
Sorry, keep going.
I'm not sure what went on there, but we'll continue. Note the minutes from previous meetings are available on the MIDAP website. That's scary when your own voice comes back. Okay. Declarations of due consideration. All panel members familiar with the material before you today? Yes, thanks, Dan. Yes. Are there any disclosures of interest? No. No. Okay, thank you for that. We'll move to items 3.1A and B. Okay. Got a presentation from Mr. Unwood from Planning Solutions. Mr. Unwood.
Thank you, presiding member and members today. My name is Ross Underwood. I'm a planning consultant who's launched the application on behalf of Australia and St. John of God Care. This project, you may be aware, is a joint venture between St. John of God and a group of orthopaedic surgeons. The developer is Hesperia. And we have here in the room today Ian Smith from Hesperia, who is available to answer any questions that may come up from the presentation. We also have the architects, Peter Bean and Kayla Murphy from Hospital Studio, who are here in the room. We have Darren Lee, who is online, and we may see Gail Thompson from Lloyd George Acoustics jump online, but I haven't seen him pop up on the screen. Thank you for hearing us today. The development of this project, which is called is I think a good change in regards to the precinct. The hospital itself predated much of the precinct, and so its back of house really faces the roads that came in after the fact. So this is a direction of that. The new Automata Hospital will face onto the main format at the eastern side of the hospital. And half of the beds will be operated by St. John of God. So there is a link across to the main hospital building. So this is a de facto extension of the hospital, as well as it provides a true function in that regard. The proposal to work today is a recommendation for approval from both the city and the department offices, and then we support the recommendation. It's worth noting that this is a piece of the puzzle in that there are other proposals to expand the hospital, including a new endoscopic ward, the mental health facility, both of which being approved through separate means. And there's also a proposal to increase the supply of parking by a net 442 bays, which include a new multi-storey car park on the western side of the hospital and the reconnection of Ring Road. That was approved by WAPC last month, and St. John of God, who receive that approval have a series of obligations as part of that separate approval through WAPC to abide by. So you will have seen, or take it that my presentation request has been read. We're asking for a few minor changes to conditions, and they're really to remove the duplication that inevitably arises when there's two approving authorities, so that you don't have to separately worded conditions that relate to landscaping plans, for instance. We've also asked that the condition relating to the green travel plan is removed primarily because that green travel plan wasn't submitted as part of this application, but it's something which forms part of the approval received by St John's through WAPC from that works dimension. So that particular plan is something that we need to be adhered to and abided by St John's guide and applies to the possible one. So in that respect, it's something that will already be applied and progress through that particular approval. With that in mind, I don't wish to speak on. I think it's a fairly simple matter. Please answer any questions that panel members have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Underwood. Questions from panel members?
I'm happy to.
Well, there you go.
So, thank you for the presentation. That was really well done. So, from my understanding, is what the Melville is happening at St. John Harbour Park. So, can I ask how many existing car parks will be renewed as a result of that? I know there's a new 4-story coming up, one of those. Is there any sort of temporary plan? Because I know there's going to be a lot of that stuff. Parking and funding as well. So just want to know more about how you mitigate that risk.
Yeah, sure. And there are 116 staff car parking meters existing days that have been impacted by this proposal. It was accounted for in the WAPC approval through SBA last month. And that particular approved plan identified the 57 bays to be removed on the alternate side. So the removal of the bays is something that's already been approved through that second approval. In terms of the temporary car parking to account for that period where it's actually a multi-story car park under construction, but not yet operational. I'm aware that St. John's God is looking for sites in the immediate vicinity to provide for temporary parking during the construction period. So that those arrangements are yet to be confirmed. The location is yet to be confirmed, but certainly that they're well aware of that and they have a need to provide for the parking for that.
Further questions? With the green travel, I'm trying to understand how the previous one, which relates to St John of God Hospital, is linked to this site.
Sure. This is a an expansion of the hospital because for the university we operated by St. God.
Yep.
So it's something that before under their agreement. The green travel plan, as it was written, wasn't specific to a particular development. So it includes a series of measures such as employment of a travel smart coordinator and a series of educational type things that would apply staff-wide. So it's designed to apply to the hospital and couldn't be implemented on a piecemeal measure in any event because of this. Really identifying measures to encourage alternate modes of parking and transport that couldn't possibly apply to one discrete group of staff, but not the rest of the
So would it need to be updated with additional, or you're just saying it's a general thing anyway? So
it's not specific to it.
no. Thank you. Further questions of Mr. Councillor?
So from what I've read, I don't see any, maybe because I've sort of missed it. So I don't see any consideration of, I know it's still on the park. So is there any like flora and fauna maybe the meeting back in that style then. I may have to sit in the report, so I apologize in advance. But yeah, just for lack of that.
Sure, well, you may be familiar, on the corner, there is some existing vegetation that sits between the current car park and the very corner. So the building has been designed to be set back from the corner, really to allow for the retention of much of that vegetation.
Okay.
So that's been one of the key design constraints, and in fact, it's a variation from the standard policy that talks about buildings butt up against the road reserves and corners, specifically for that landscape outcome under the design business.
Okay. And would you know a couple of days if anything getting to presentation like one?
Not to my knowledge.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. No further questions? Right, thank you, Mr. Underwood. We'll move to the officers now. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes. Would you want to do any presentation or just take questions?
I would like to take this opportunity, as Mr. Chair, to address some of the comments that the applicant made.
Yes.
As the application was reviewed by the design review panel, so that has concluded that it relates very well to its surroundings. The canopy relates to the street, the landscaping relates to the conservation area diagonal opposite, and to the verge. I note that much of the landscaping is indeed zoned under the local planning scheme. Probably the City of Melville to address the applicant's comments regarding the need for that condition on both applications or not. I would note, however, that in regard to the landscaping, the conditions say the same thing. The only difference being that some of the detail for our recommendations and advice, but the intent and the what is required to meet the condition is the same. So then the other aspect is to do with traffic and parking. So design, traffic and parking. So the MIDAP Specialised Activity Centre structure plan always envisaged the health campus at St John of God to expand, and its associated guidelines, in fact, envisaged a building on this corner. It is supported by a parking policy that its intent is to manage the generation of traffic from all the developments across the whole strategic area. And so it does that by setting caps and managing the amount of parking into the whole strategic area. So each precinct has its cap, and St John of God has its cap. Certainly the recently approved mental health facility and car park very much challenged and addressed that cap. The approval has accepted a slight variation, but in essence, it maintains a sufficient traffic movement and management of the precinct. Now, this application is separate to the mental health facility application. So while St John of God has a real intent of proceeding with that application, and that's one of the reasons that it was, we followed the pathway that the APC approved for the 417 pathway act. We have a mechanism to tie the two together. So in order to manage the parking, while the policy and the caps, set that framework, the aim of there's two conditions that are recommended. And the aim of those two conditions is to manage how this development is going to implement the site. So the parking management plan does its bit by ensuring that we know how many bays might be allocated to staff versus visitors, etc. And we have no objection to the applicant's recommended change to the advice note, that it does not change the intent of the condition at all, and it does not change the expectations, the clarity of expectations in meeting the condition. However, with regard to the green travel plan, the green travel plan exists. It's always not been acknowledged by all the various applications that have been approved for the St John Pond site, that the green travel plan exists and is used again as a management tool to deal with the parking caps, etc. But it includes information in there regarding the types of facilities that is available for staff and visitors and how they are expected to be used in the context of the other opportunities for managing traffic. Those details include entry facilities, the amount of parking racks, and those sorts of facilities. So for the mental health facility approval, the existing green travel plan was in fact updated to include the types of facilities that proposal was including added to for the campus. Now, this proposal in front of us also includes additional parking. In fact, one of the conditions includes some additional parking, bike parking, racks, and it includes indoor facilities. So the intent of the condition is to tie this existing green travel plan to this proposal, to have that existing travel plan acknowledge the facilities that are provided by this proposal, and to ensure that the users of this facility understand that that the implementation of that green travel plan is required by this development. It is a component of the whole campus, and so from a planning perspective, it needs to be treated as one. And this is the only mechanism we have to tie this development to the other to the
Thank you. Other questions? In relation to the suggested modification to condition 16, supportive of that modification?
The transport noise.
Yes, the section 78.
Yes. So that was an inadvertent error. If there had been a need for amalgamation or subdivision to implement this proposal, then section 165 would have been the appropriate and the easier route. But in the absence of any subdivision, we're supportive of and acknowledge that 78 is not appropriate.
All right. Thank you for that. No further questions. Thank you very much. We'll move on. We'll do with 3.1. City offices. I think
I'd like to take questions.
take questions. Well, we'd like to come over here. Thank you. Then, sorry about that. We do have questions.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I'm just, the applicant has asked for the deletion of condition 4, and deletion of condition 6 and 7. I gather you have a copy of their request, and I'd just like your comment on it, please, because basically they're suggesting that it's probably a little bit of overkill.
Interpretation, yeah. So I guess Commission 4 agrees with that. Item 3.1B. That's fine.
So you're happy with condition 4 being deleted?
Yep.
Yes. And 6?
With Commission 6, I guess the majority of the cities assessed on this one, starting off here 6 is basically landscaping, so that's the main component that we assess in detail. So while the evidence condition can be brought in, we believe, given the intent of the majority of the development is based on landscaping in the city, plan that commission to address the city's issues through a commission rather than regulation.
Sorry, could I just interrupt? I can't actually hear the I think the microphone's too far away or something. It's a bit broken up. Thank you.
Right. Condition 6.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Try and talk now.
just
Testing.
Yeah, she's fine.
So just, with condition 6, I guess, the condition that DPLH, there was item 3.1B more was advice, not generally standard condition, whereas the city believes given the intent of LPS 6 or land, and LPS 6 is basically the majority of its landscaping conditions more enforced than advice note condition. Condition 8 about the TPZs, tree protection zones, we believe that's the city's standard. City puts on development approvals for any city land where there are street trees that need to be protected, so we believe that condition should remain, so that one shouldn't be removed. And that was all of the city's conditions.
So just going back to condition 6, what is it that's adding that?
I guess because in item 3.1B, most of the portion of our conditions included as advice notes. So it might just be advice, which they may not implement, whereas through a condition, it's more sort of on they've got to actually provide those aspects in terms of points A to D in our condition.
So you don't think there's any duplication in terms of, or sorry, not duplication necessarily, but any conflict between the two? That's more the concern.
I think for the city's it's more so just to ensure it does get done as required. I think the condition, rather than through advice, unless there's a way that the item 3.1B condition can be modified to include those advice notes in that condition, that could be a way to potentially avoid the duplication.
Do you see any concern in, because this condition is to the satisfaction of the city, the other one is to the satisfaction of the WAPC? So
In consultation with the city, I think that would,
Yes. I'm just concerned. We're getting this
Gonna end up
two bosses.
Yeah.
So if
the advice note is advice note 4. We, in terms of like shall provide, we say must provide the following details. A bit more stern, those aspects will be included. Item 3.1B, advice note 4.
Yeah. Yes, okay, all right, thanks. Yeah, all right, thank you. No further questions?
Just got
Yes.
one. Thank you. So to the presiding member, just a question around, I know the city had received 2 comments. So, and both of them were generally supportive apart from the parking, which, there's a solution for that. I also note that there was 2 recommendations by the city from the DRP regarding, the mature trees and the ground floor. So those, from my understanding, weren't adopted or when.
Yes, so in terms of the tree, there was one tree that was near the entry canopy, which would have not retained, which DRP recommended if they could do their best to try and retain it. But I guess given Africa mentioned before in terms of trying to comply with the design framework and not having it on a corner, personal corner to retain as much vegetation as possible, the city believe that's a suitable outcome. Most of the landscaping had been retained besides one tree, which DRP so if they could, it wasn't sort of like a mandatory must retain it. So the city was comfortable with that, given the landscape obtain suitable outcome in that regard.
Okay. And from my understanding as well, I think there's going to be additional trees planted on site, so additional, I think 30 or 40.
Compared to what was there previously, what's there now? Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. We'll move on now to item 3.1A, which is the City of Melville RAR. So I'm seeking a mover and seconder for the recommendation. Is there a mover?
You want to move?
Yeah, I can move it.
Yeah.
Put your hand up.
Yeah, sorry,
Sorry.
Is there a seconder
first time.
for that? No, that's fine.
And I'll be a seconder.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, done. All right, Councillor Lim, you have the floor.
Yeah, so I think without repeating everything, I'm generally supportive of this development. So everything seems to be to comply in terms of like the noise, and also I think we did our best to try to conserve the trees by planting additional trees. We did have sort of bike paths to consider, end of trip facilities to consider transport to the area. And I think, you know, as a natural extension with the bridge to the main building, it's overall a very, I think, a good outcome for the city. And I've gone on the social media page as well. Like, the community seems very accepting of the development, and the comments that we received from the city are accepted too. There's not a lot of biodiversity issues with this, so overall, I think it's a good development. Yeah, I don't see any issues arising from this development.
Thank you, Councillor.
Look, obviously this fits in very nicely with the structure plan and what is anticipated to occur in this area and in this precinct. I see it as it's a well-designed, well thought out proposal and addresses the need for St John of God to expand. So I have no problems with it. It fits very nicely into the planning framework. I would like to say that I will be looking to have 2 conditions deleted. Do you want to deal with those now?
Yes.
Yeah, look, I've been supporting deletion of condition 4 because, well, obviously the city officers are supportive of it being deleted, and it would appear that these matters can be dealt with under the construction management plan. In addition, I'll be looking for condition 6 to be deleted so as to avoid duplication. So those are the 2.
So you're moving an amendment. Okay.
Yep.
Do I have a seconder for deletion of those 2 conditions?
Second.
Yes, Councillor Lim. Okay, thank you. All right, do you want to say any more on
No,
deletion?
no more comments.
As seconder?
Comments.
No, any further comment on the deletion of those conditions from panel members? No, okay. I'll put the amendment to delete conditions 4 and 6. All in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. You've still got the floor.
I have no further comment.
Okay, are there further speakers on this one? Councillor Green, no. Ms. Goldspan, no.
No, I'm just happy to support the proposal. I think it's been well considered and yeah, so fits well within the planning departments of the region, of the area. So yeah, happy to support.
Okay, thank you for that. And I too fully supportive of the proposal. So no further vote from the mover. No. Okay, thank you. I'll put the recommendation as amended. All in favour? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to item 3.1B. Mover and a seconder for that, please. Is there a mover? Thank you. Mr. Donahue, seconder. Yes, Goldspan, thank you.
I think I've pretty well said everything about this application. I think it's highly appropriate and I'm happy to support it. I will, however, be looking for a modification to condition 16 to remove the word section 165 of the Planning and Development Act 2005.
I'll see if the seconder is prepared to support that and it becomes the substantive motion. Okay, thank you very much. So any further vote on that?
No.
No, that's now the substantive motion. The seconder, Ms. Goldsmith.
No, nothing further to add. Thanks. Happy to support.
All right, further speakers on this one? No, I'm too happy to support it. I agree with the retention of the green travel plan. I think that's important that this site is recognised as part of that plan and the facilities that it's offering. So back to the mover to wind up
Yes,
the
I'll
debate.
finish by saying I agree about the need to update the green travel plan. End of debate.
Thank you. I'll put that motion, including that change to condition 16. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you very much for that. There are no forms 2. There's no SAT reconsiderations. And is there any general business? No. Okay. I officially declare the meeting closed at 10:04 and thank you.